before we get to our Saturday SEC games, let's tell you what we have going on this weekend. Jim Feist is 4-1 with college football games of the month, and he's got his NFC South game of the month going on Thursday in that marquee TV game. He also has an Inner Circle Slaughter going Saturday, an early release. He nailed Kentucky 2 weeks ago, 20-3 over Ohio, and then last week he had his Inner Circle Shocker. That was East Carolina. Boy, they pulled the shocker all right, upsetting Virginia Tech straight up. And Jeff, you're on an 86-62 college football run. Your weekday games 6-1, and you got your first big college conference game of the year coming up.
Yeah, on JimFeist.com, last Thursday we had Louisiana Tech. That was a winner over North Texas. Friday we had Cincinnati, a winner over Toledo. We had a 3-game package on Saturday. I went 2-1, including the non-conference shocker of the month winner with Georgia Southern. Baseballs are rolling along, 92-57 in baseball since July 26th. 2-2 at the LVSS personal service on Saturday in the NFL, including a best bet with the Texans. So everything's going well here at LVSS. This week I'm going to have a 3-game package for $39 that will include my first conference game of the year. Just go to JimFeist.com for all the information there, John.
All right, very good. If you want to go to JimFeist.com, see that little football helmet in the lower left, just click on that. That's a link to the site. Okay, let's get to our Saturday college football games. We're going to take a look at a pair of SEC games. We're going to start with the showdown between Florida and Bama. We're going to Bama opening as a 15.5-point favorite down to 14.5. A little money coming in on Florida at 52%. You know, Florida's got that great defense. They got that great history, and they got a new offensive coordinator. But they're not getting a lot of respect from odds makers in this one. It's a bounce-back season for the Gators, also for the Gator coaching staff. Last couple of years, Gators have been absolutely sensational on defense. No surprise there. However, it's the offense that has just been in the tank. So for this season, they made major changes. Kurt Roper comes in. He was the Duke offensive coordinator. He's brought in a more of a no-huddle, up-tempo attack. After just 2 games, the offensive numbers are there, 50.5 points per game, and they have tremendous passing and rushing yards. However, that was against weak competition. And if you're looking for a blemish against Florida, it would be that game against Kentucky. They were an 18-point favorite. Fortunate to win the game in triple overtime, 36-30, and the defense gave up 450 yards, although they did have a nice edge in rushing, 237-81. And, Sean, you know, this is a big test for Florida going up against at Alabama, and they have not been very good when stepping up against teams with winning records, 10-22-1 against the spread, and this is no ordinary team they're going to be facing this weekend.
Well, what are you doing? Reading my notes? You took about half of the stuff I was just going to throw out there, John.
We'll go to the
But yeah, all right. Look, first of all, this game will go on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a CBS game, and yeah, Bama open up 15.5 down to 14.5, so a little bit of money on the pooch here. Okay, Florida, 2-1 straight up, just 1-1 against the number, and you made the big point. Just came off a 3-overtime non-cover home win against Kentucky, 36-30 is a home favorite of 18. In fact, you can't make a case for either one of these teams. Fade them both. Florida has not played Alabama since 2011, and they have failed to cover against Alabama in their last 3 meetings. Failed to cover now by 23.5 points, by 17 points, and by 24 points in the last 3 times they faced them. So it's never even been close. Head coach, and I'm sure I'm going to mess this up for Florida. Is that Muschamp? Is that how you pronounce his name? Okay. He's in his 4th year, and Florida last year was just 4-7 against the house. Bama has simply not recovered from that Auburn shocker when they lost as a 16-point favorite with that 165,000-yard punt return that beat them last year. They lost their bowl game as a 16-point favorite straight up by 14 points, and this year they're 3-0 straight up but 0-2 against the bookie. Recent form for both of these teams actually means you fade them both. Bama has a bye next week and then travels to divisional rival Ole Miss. I'm sure they'll be looking forward to that. And Florida also has a bye, and then they travel on the road to Tennessee. A lot of points here for a team that hasn't shown a whole lot. I don't know if they're still in shock, but Florida doesn't show me anything either. I think the number's right about where it should be. I'm going to let Jeff try to talk me into something on this one.
Okay, well, I'll start with the the Alabama defense. Really, this Alabama team has everybody back from last year for the most part, with one exception, and that's the all-important quarterback spot with senior Blake Sims, 4 touchdowns and 1 interception, but he's not doing it alone. This backfield is absolutely loaded. You got the wide receiver in Cooper. He's got Yeldon and Drake in the backfield. And the offense brings in Lane Kiffin running a pro-style attack. So far, it's been very productive, although I did see Saban and Kiffin getting into some words on the sideline early in the game against Southern Miss over the weekend. So, Jeff, this is a very big number. Florida 1-8-1 against the spread against Bama, and 0-5 ATS here in Bama. Should they be this big a dog?
Yeah, this is one of those games where there's no way I touch it. It's just the line right now. I think the line might even go up for Bama because of the situation coming off. Florida coming off a 3 overtime game. I mean, that's the worst thing that you want, especially when you go in and play Alabama. And Alabama's coming off an easy 52-12 win over Southern Miss. It's just a terrible situation for Florida here. Wide receiver, the Gators broke a 5-game conference losing streak. That's one good thing for them. And wide receiver DeMarcus Robinson caught 15 passes, but quarterback Jeff Driscoll missed some open receivers and finished 25 of 43 with 1 interception, 295 yards, 3 TDs. The Gators secondary is the biggest question mark here. Kentucky quarterback Patrick Tolles threw for 369 yards, and won't get any easier for Driscoll this week against that great Bama pass rush that gave Nick Mullins fits last week at Southern Miss. Ties average at 6.2 yards per rush, while allowing only 2.1 yards per carry. They have yet to allow a rushing touchdown. They're loaded at running back featuring T.J. Yeldon and Derrick Henry. Blake Sims has completed 75% of his passes. This is one of those games where it's Alabama or nothing. I'm not going to take the game or bet the game, but if I had to, it would be Alabama. But I can't take Florida in this situation, John.
Okay, you're not going to bet it with your money. Would you bet it with Sean's money?
Yeah, with his money, I don't care about him.
With my money, I don't have much.
I see. Now you would bet it with his money. I see. He's flip-flopping already.
Oh, boy.
Well, I'm going to have to take a look, lean toward the total in this one, because I can't ignore the defensive talent or the defensive abilities of this team. First of all, Florida, last 2 years, they've been ranked 15th and number 5 in the nation in scoring, and that's, Muscamp's, that's his expertise, and they have been getting it done. And then the Gators 1-8-1 against Bama, so I would like to back the dog here, but that's difficult. And then the Alabama defense, though, last 2 years ranked number 1 and number 4 in points allowed. The last 5 meetings between these teams in Alabama, 4-1 under the total. This shapes up as kind of a 20-10 or 23-10 kind of game. So I'm going to be looking at a run-oriented, physical defensive game going under the total